Good evening, everyone. It is Thursday night, a little later than I thought it was going to be when I jumped on here, but I wanted to get on here tonight and just talk about podcasting and the difficulty of podcasting or the not difficulty of podcasting. Because I still hear people talking about, yeah, I want to create a podcast, and then they don't do it. And I was that person, totally that person. I started my Dream Plan Start Grow podcast in 2020. And it was just an audio podcast, but I did all this research and how do you do it? I have a Mac computer, so I did it on GarageBand. I could record it right into GarageBand. I could edit it there. I could put an intro and outro there, and I was all good. Then I had to set up hosting. So my hosting account is on something called Castos, but Castos is one of many hosting platforms. I did research on that. And they're they're varied prices depending on what you want to do with it. And, some do all these bonuses. They cost a little more money. Some are less money. So different podcasting channels, but they're the ones that push it out to your audio networks. And then you have to basically register for all those audio networks. So, Apple Podcasts, they don't just magically pick up your podcast. You have to kind of make the connection essentially. Google, Spotify, Stitcher. I am on Amazon Audible or Amazon Music, Amazon Audible. So all those are different connections. So once I post the podcast, it just automatically goes out to them. So that's awesome. Once it's done, it's done. And there's so many different podcasting networks out there. I'm only on 6, but I figure the bigger 6, and I just haven't spent the time to add more. Hey, thanks to whoever's stopping by to heart. Feel free to jump in the comments. But I haven't spent the time to do more. So I've kind of stayed with the 6. Maybe I'll add a couple more at some point in time. But, it's all time. Hey, Sandra. I know you do a podcast too. So I started doing that in the audio side because I was like, no way am I doing any video. Don't want to be on video. Don't like myself on video. None of that. So started on the audio side. I mirrored it after another business coach that I had listened to his podcast up in Ohio. He did it every single day. I struggled to do it once a week. And it was like 10, 12 minutes, and that was it. So fast forward, then I stopped doing it. So I probably did 5 or 6 episodes. Fast forward to 2022, and all of a sudden I was like, you know what? I got to bring this podcast out again. Okay. And this time I was prepared to do the video side. So the video doesn't really complicate matters. It just adds one more step. So now when you're editing a video, it's a little bit different. And so you need an intro and an outro that are more video based. And some people I'm sure the podcasts I've heard that are, more professional sounding all have intros and outros. And that's just kind of introducing your subject and who you are and, the call to action or the ending piece. Pretty simple, not super elaborate, but you still have to create them. So intro, outro, you can distribute podcasts on video networks on like something like Castos. I've chosen only to put it on YouTube because YouTube is owned by Google and I want the Google equity, so to speak. So I've just done it that way and not spent like a higher hosting account because it costs more money to push it out on the video side. But let's talk a little bit about sound and camera. So when I first started the video ones, I actually was professionally filming in our studio here in Delray Beach because my biggest concern was people's Wi-Fi networks. And I'm hardwired into my Wi-Fi network here in the office, but so many people are on Wi-Fi. And when you're on Wi-Fi, it's just a crapshoot, especially if you're at your house and there's a bunch of people on, then forget the Wi-Fi. So I chose not to do online initially. I chose to do in the studio. So probably my first 30 episodes are all filmed in my studio here in Delray Beach. I had control over everything. I know a ton of business owners here in Delray Beach, so it was perfect. I got to highlight them first. They were in the South Florida area. And then I decided to venture out. So I have a professional microphone. Was not super expensive. I bought one of the less expensive ones when I first started because I wanted to make sure I was going to keep doing this. But it sounds pretty good, so I'm not going to do anything different. Also bought a camera. I can't move that since I'm on it right now. but it's a Logitech 4K webcam. Very good. For streaming purposes, it's only streaming at 1080p, but if I want to record a podcast, it will record at up to 4K. So great. So I bought those. There's a bunch of stuff out there. I did a fair amount of research. I didn't want to break the bank on spending a bunch of money on like professional cameras and, higher end microphones. I was like, let me make sure I'm going to do this first. So I don't feel like you need to do that. I feel like you can start with equipment that's not going to break the bank. And then if you want to up level at some point, that's up to you. But I think this picture is pretty good with this camera. I think the sound's pretty good with this microphone. I will probably stay where I'm at. So now when I film on a platform called Riverside. So that is a podcasting platform. It's built for that. But you can also stream on a platform like this, StreamYard. So this is a great platform to either stream, or you can pre-record on this platform too. Again, I've chosen to pre-record for now. That may change in the future. But for now, I want some control, because if the internet glitches or shuts down or whatever might happen in Wi-Fi world, I want to be able to control the editing side of it and make it still look professional, still present myself and my guests as professionals, which we are. So I've chosen to do that, but I know a lot of people that stream and advocate for streaming because of, you get better engagement. So you do you, figure out what's best for you. Again, I may go to streaming at some point in time, live streaming it. But the good thing with the streaming side is it creates the files on both sides. So if I'm talking to Ken on the other side, the files for me come up from me up to the cloud, and then the files for Ken come from his computer up to the cloud. So I actually get better files than what I might actually see on the screen when we're filming. So that's awesome. And then my editor can then add the intro, add the outro, and put the lower third on, and we're good to go. Assuming there's no messes up, mess things, which I've had a couple of glitches, but nothing major. So that's how easy it really is. It's really not a hard process to start a podcast if you want to do it yourself. We do it in our studio here in Batcat Media too. So if you ever want to film it more professionally, we have professional lighting, professional cameras. We can do it on green screen. That's what I was doing for the first few that I filmed, was on green screen, so I could change the backgrounds based on a little bit more of the guests that I was having on. But you can do a podcast yourself. And what does podcast content give you? So it gives you long form content. A lot of my podcasts are 45 to 60 minutes. So I can actually break those up into much smaller pieces of content, which is awesome because, video is king on social media right now. So think Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. If you're into TikTok videos, you can do vertical, you can do horizontal clips. You can do whatever you want. But I have a ton of videos I can create content from, and that's awesome. So I really encourage podcasting. I think it's like a great avenue for marketing. It's a longer term marketing play, but it really creates you as the expert in your field, whatever your field is. So if you have any questions for me regarding podcasting, you can jump on dreamplanstarkroad.com. I offer a complimentary consultation there. I'm not trying to sell you anything. But if you have questions about it, go there. We can chat, and I'm happy to point you in the right direction if I know the answer or get the answer for you. So hope you're having a great night. Happy Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. TGIF. Have a good one, everyone. I will see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.